This is the CNC Router Tips Podcast, episode 32. He had posted a picture of one of the projects that he created, and someone took that exact photograph and used it on their website for profit without asking any permission or having any expectation that it was okay to do so. This is the CNC Router Tips Podcast, a show which answers one question from you, the listener, about CNC router tables, CNC software, hardware, web hosting, and business. I'll help you get started in your CNC hobby or business and help you cut through the confusion.
Today's episode is sponsored by themakersguide.com. The Maker's Guide. Useful tools for makers.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the CNC Router Tips Podcast, a show which helps you cut through the confusion of using your CNC router table for hobby or business. I'm your host, Bill Griggs. I'm so glad you could join us today. Well, we talk about a topic that has been on my mind quite a bit lately, and it's also on the minds of some of the members of our private Facebook group, the hashtag CNC Router Tips group on Facebook. That topic is intellectual property, sharing your work with others, and when it is okay to use someone else's design and when it's not. Many of us like to take the time to create our own designs. We gather pleasure from doing it, and we're very good at it. Some people find it very enjoyable to conceptualize a new project and then go ahead and create it and draw it. And what's really great about that is you come up with a unique piece of artwork that is totally yours in design. When we share that publicly in a group online or in advertisement or in whatever situation where other people see your work, many people assume because they've seen a picture of something that they have the right to do whatever they want with that design. And that's really the crux of the problem. You see, using that philosophy is not really fair for the designer who put in the time and the imagination to come up with a unique product and a unique process in which to make his project. Now, many of us freely give away our design work to anyone who admires it or wants it, and a lot of people have gotten used to that being the case. But it's not always the case, particularly on commercial products that people use to generate their income. So in our group, there was recently a discussion by a member who was concerned because he had posted a picture of one of the projects that he used or that he created, and someone took that exact photograph and used it on their website for profit without asking any permission or really having any expectation that it was okay to do so. So when the person who created that design found out and saw his design work on someone else's website, he contacted that person, and that person responded and removed the artwork and apologized. Now, sometimes we realize that it can be confusing when you post something on a website. People automatically assume that you were the creator of that. And so it's very important to give what they refer to as attribution to any artwork that you would use. So, for instance, if you went onto a Google web search and you were searching for images on the web and you found one that you really liked that you wanted to put on your web site, well, chances are, unless you get the permission directly from the person who owns that image, you can't use it because you'd be violating his copyright laws. And you'd also be violating his intellectual property rights. So, what are intellectual property rights? Well, in law, intellectual property is a work or invention that is the result of creativity, such as a manuscript or a design, to which one has rights and for which one may apply for a patent, copyright, trademark, etc. I am not a lawyer, so I can't advise you on what to do. And because of that, I suggest that each of you go out and look up intellectual property and find out how it applies to you, because the last thing you want to do is get into hot water legally over a design. So the simple way around this is to do something very simple, and that is to ask the creator of the work that you want to use if you can use that work. And if they say no, don't use it. And that doesn't stop you from going out and creating a similar design on your own. There's very little to preclude you from doing that. But clearly when it's someone's hard work and original work, you should try and respect that. That's my opinion. You may have your own opinion about this. And, that's the great part about the media that we're listening to and using here. Everyone has an opinion, and anyone can get on and talk about it and describe it. And if you've got an opinion on this subject, I'd love to hear it. You can send me a tweet on Twitter at Bill Griggs, and let me know what you think about this subject. Many times when this happens to people, they feel that somebody stole their work. And I can sympathize with them because I've had that happen to me in the past. Back when I designed model airplanes, some people stole my work and made copies of things that I had developed. And, it's a terrible feeling. Even today, one of the products that I make and sell has been copied, and a person has then shared the drawings that they created on a public forum to let people know how to make these things. So I can understand and sympathize with anyone who feels that their work has been stolen, because you put a lot of time, effort, creativity into it, and a lot of your heart goes into these things. And to have someone say, oh, well, I can just take this because I saw it and I like it, so I'm going to do that, is really disconcerting. So, it's something to bear in mind. I'm not going to preach about this for hours on end. It's, folks, it's just a fact of life that people will imitate work to create their own. And it's also a fact of life that some people will claim that your work is their work. I think the second practice is reprehensible and should be squashed whenever it rears its head. So I realize that the first practice of imitating the work to create your own work is what many of us do. Most of us give credit to the original creator and we give proper attribution. But, sometimes we ask then if it's okay to make a version of the original, and sometimes we don't. But the point is, we should ask, and I really think that we should ask, because it's not cool if you don't. Okay, so this begs the question: how do you protect your work? What are some methods that you could use that would give you protection from other people copying your original things? And one of the techniques that we use, at least here in the United States, is the copyright laws. And one of the things that you can do is you can obtain a copyright of your original work, or you can even obtain a copyright for an entire body of work. So if you were to do, many different designs, you could copyright them all under one copyright application as a body of work, provided all of them were in the same status as far as publication went. So if you'd already shown the designs, you could copyright any designs that you had shown. But if none of the designs had been shown outside of your business, then you could copyright those in a separate way. So, as usual, consult a lawyer who specializes in this sort of things. There are many organizations that can help you with information about, how to go about getting your content copywritten. And it's not a terribly expensive process either. Now, you can get forms to apply for copyright by going to copyright.gov/forms and finding the appropriate form there, and there's instructions on how to fill it out. You could also consult with an attorney and have them do this for you. There are also many online sites that do things like this. For instance, LegalZoom.com. Now, I have no affiliation whatsoever with LegalZoom. I just know that they do this sort of thing, and I'm not really certain if LegalZoom has actual lawyers on staff, but I do know that some people use them. Again, whenever you're in doubt, just consult with an attorney, and they can help you make these choices if you've got the funds to do something like this. Another way that I hear that people copyright their material is to put the words copyright and use the copyright symbol on their drawings. Now, I do not know whether that is a legal or accurate way of doing this. And if there are any attorneys out there who would like to weigh in on this subject, we'd be glad to hear from you. You could, again, contact us at Twitter at Bill Griggs, or you could leave a voice message at cncroutertips.com/askme. We'd be glad to hear from you. And if you'd like to come on the podcast and talk about this subject, we would really like to hear from someone who has expertise in this field. Another method people use to protect their drawings is to put a watermark in the drawing. And so when they publish the picture, you see the picture with the watermark embedded in it, and makes it a little more difficult for people to copy. Not impossible, but more difficult is one way of doing it. Now, there are probably many other ways, and if you've got some suggestions, please let us know. Now, it's probably best that we not beat a dead horse, so just try and remember the lessons you learned back in kindergarten, that it's nice to share. But if you want something that someone else has, you should ask them first. Well, I hope this helps you at least think about this subject a little bit. And now we're going to change gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about the contest right after this.
Today's episode is sponsored by The Maker's Guide, creator of the Triple Edge Finder. Get the edge you need, save time and frustration on your CNC project, and make setup a snap. Save time and material. Set up your workpiece on your CNC router table faster than ever. Accurately set your Z-axis height first time, every time. Automatically locate the corner or edge of a workpiece. Reset your starting point in the middle of a program. Quality crafted right here in the USA on US-made CNC machines. Get the edge you need today. Go to www.themakersguide.com/edge. The Maker's Guide. Useful tools for makers.
We're back, and I would like to talk for a moment about the giveaway that we're going to have to celebrate reaching 3,000 members in the Facebook group, #CNC Router Tips Facebook group. We recently passed the 3,000 mark, and we're well on our way to 3,200 at the moment. So in order to celebrate, I decided it would be nice to do a giveaway. And the prize that we're going to be giving away is something that I think many of us would enjoy having. And in order to get that prize, the only thing you have to do is submit an entry. The giveaway is going to be limited to U.S. residents only, and you must be 18 to enter. And the giveaway will last from June 6th, 2016 until July 4th, 2016 at midnight Eastern Time. So what's the prize? What's the prize? What's the prize? Well, the prize will be VCarve Desktop. It's a $350 value, and it's yours if you win this giveaway. So if you'd like to enter for a chance to win this giveaway, go to cncroutertips.com/contest. And remember, the contest starts on June 6th, 2016, and ends July 4th, 2016 at midnight Eastern. No purchase necessary. All the rules of this giveaway will be available on that page at cncroutertips.com/contest, and read them and follow them, and you could win your very own copy of VCarve Desktop. And as usual, void where prohibited by law. Okay, there you have it. I hope you will take the chance to get yourself a copy of VCarve Desktop. And as usual, may the odds be ever in your favor. I often mention many different types of software during the episodes, and hardware and cutters, and it can get a little confusing. So what I did was I put together a page on my website, cncroutertips.com/resources. And on that page, I list all sorts of resources there, from books to tools to software, all the things that I use that make my CNC experience better and easier. And I hope you'll check it out. So again, it's cncroutertips.com/resources. Well, that's it for this episode of the CNC Router Tips podcast. I hope you'll take the time to go out and make something great and to share it with us. And you know what? If you choose not to, that's okay too, because that's your right. Now, if you'd like to have your question featured on the air, here's how. Need help? Ask me about your CNC router question on my podcast, the CNC Router Tips Podcast. I'll be glad to help or try and get you the help you need. I want this podcast to be a fun and personal experience for everyone, and helpful. So let's keep it real and ask sensible questions. Please use common sense and show courtesy to everyone. That way everybody wins. Here are some guidelines to ensure that your question is qualified to be featured on the show. Please keep your questions under 1 minute in length. If it goes a little over that, that's fine, but don't ramble. If you have a website and URL, you're allowed to share it, but only once during the recording. Spammy or disrespectful or deeply private questions will not be considered for the podcast. If you need to ask more than one question, just make each question a separate voicemail. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in and listening to the CNC Router Tips podcast. If you'd like to join our free mailing list, you can go to cncroutertips.com, and there's a link right there on the top of the page which tells you how to do that. Thank you so much, and have a great day.